My wife yelled, "If you walk out that door, don't you dare come back." I simply said, "I won't." Then I had my lawyer send the divorce filing to the fancy hotel where she was staying with her work husband. Her panicked calls started the moment room service arrived. I, 35 male, stood in our bedroom doorway watching my wife pack. Not her standard black roller bag for the usual work overnights. This was the expensive, cream-colored luggage set. The one reserved for vacations. "Another management summit, Eleanor?" I asked. My voice was quieter than I intended. Eleanor, 32, didn't look up from folding a silk blouse. "It's important. Quarterly planning. You know this." "I know the conference is in a different city," I said. "I also know the hotel you're actually booked at is a 5-star resort, and the reservation has 2 names on it. The second one being Julian." She froze. Then she slowly straightened up and turned to face me. Her expression wasn't guilt, it was annoyance. Pure, undiluted irritation at being inconvenienced. "You've been going through my emails," she accused. "It was open on your tablet, left on the kitchen island. You wanted me to see it, or you're just that sloppy. Which is it?" "You are so paranoid," she hissed, yanking the zipper on the bag. "Julian is my mentor, my boss. This is a team-building exercise for senior staff. You're acting like a child." "A child," I repeated, tasting the word. It tasted like ash. "Right. I'm not the one lying, Eleanor. I'm not the one packing lingerie for a team-building exercise. Just tell me the truth." "The truth?" She laughed, a short, sharp, ugly sound. "The truth is you're boring, Arthur. You're suffocating me with this neediness. God, I can't be around this energy right before a big presentation." She grabbed her handbag and the carry-on. She was actually going to leave, right then. "Eleanor," I said, and my voice was firm now. "If you walk out that door to go meet him, we are done. I am not playing this game anymore." She stopped at the top of the stairs and looked back at me, her face twisted in contempt. "No, you're done," she spat. "I am going to be successful, and I am not going to be held back by your limp, pathetic jealousy. You know what? If you hate this so much, you leave. If you walk out that door, don't you dare come back. I am sick of looking at your miserable face." I stared at her for a long, silent moment. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd supported through her MBA, the woman who was now treating me like dirt on her shoe. I nodded once. "I won't." I walked past her down the stairs. I grabbed my car keys from the bowl by the door, picked up my laptop bag from my home office, and walked out the front door. I didn't look back. I sat in my car for maybe 5 minutes, just breathing. The numbness was absolute. It was like I was watching a movie. Then, clarity. Cold and sharp. I didn't drive around aimlessly. I drove to a decent extended stay hotel, one with kitchens in the rooms, and booked a room for 2 weeks. I sat on the unfamiliar, stiff sofa and pulled out my laptop. First, I transferred 75% of the money from our joint checking account, the one for household bills that I almost exclusively funded, into my personal savings. I left her enough to cover groceries or gas, just enough that she couldn't claim I'd left her destitute. Second, I called my lawyer. I'd had a consultation with him 6 months ago when this friendship with Julian first started ringing alarm bells. He'd told me to wait for something concrete. "David," I said when he picked up. "It's Arthur. She's on her way. The reservation is at the Grand Elysian Hotel. She's with him. I want the papers filed, and I want them served. At the hotel, tomorrow morning." "Arthur, are you sure?" David asked, his voice all business. "I'm sure. She told me not to come back, so I'm not. It's aggressive, serving her there. It's not cheap either." "I don't care," I said. "I want her to know exactly what she threw away, right in the middle of her new life. Embarrassment is the only language she understands." David sighed. "All right, I'll need a retainer for the emergency filing and the specialized process server. And Arthur, turn your phone off. Or at least don't answer it. It's going to get loud." I paid his retainer online. Then I ordered a pizza to my new, sterile room. I ate 2 slices and fell asleep in my clothes. My phone, which I'd left on Do Not Disturb, woke me up around 10 a.m. the next morning. It wasn't the ringing, it was the sheer, non-stop vibration against the nightstand. It sounded like an angry hornet. I looked at the screen. 17 missed calls from Eleanor. 8 missed calls from Julian. 4 missed calls from Eleanor's mother. A string of texts that were just a keyboard smash of rage. The first voicemail was from Eleanor. It was 9:15 a.m. She was whispering, but the whisper was screaming. Arthur, what is this? What the hell is this? A man just knocked on my door. He asked if I was Eleanor Vance. He served me divorce papers in front of Julian. Are you insane? The second voicemail, 9:18 a.m. Louder now. You are a psychopath. You did this to humiliate me. Julian is my boss Arthur. You've ruined everything. Call me back right now. You are going to fix this. The third, 9:30 a.m., full-on crying. How could you do this? We were just talking. It was a mistake. Arthur, please, I'm at the hotel. Just come here. We can talk, okay? Just call me, please. Then one from Julian, 9:45 a.m. His voice was condescending, trying to sound like the adult in the room. Look, Arthur, old man, I think we got off on the wrong foot here. Eleanor she's very emotional. This move, serving papers at the hotel, it's low class. It's unprofessional. Why don't you be a man, call your wife, and we can all sit down and talk about this when we're back. This isn't the way to handle things. I deleted the voicemails. My lawyer had been right. It was loud. I drank my bad hotel coffee and sent David a text. They've been served. Now what? He replied almost instantly. Now, we locked down assets. The house was yours pre-marriage, correct? Correct, I typed. I've lived there for 10 years, married for 3. Good. That simplifies things. But the appreciation and value during the marriage is community property. We need to sell it to divide it, unless you want to buy her out. I don't want the house, I typed. It's not a home anymore. Sell it. Okay, I'll get the ball rolling on a motion for exclusive use and control of the property for the purpose of its sale. In the meantime, find a new place to live, and do not, under any circumstances, speak to her. I looked at my phone, still buzzing like it was having a seizure. I turned it off, completely. For the first time in my adult life, I just turned it off. I felt a pang, not of regret, but of finality. This was real. I'd just blown up my own life because she'd blown it up first. It was a strange, hollow, and terribly quiet feeling. Then I opened my laptop and started looking for a realtor. Update 1, it's been 2 weeks. I'm now living in a small, furnished one-bedroom apartment I leased for 6 months. It's beige and has no personality, which is exactly what I need right now. The Do Not Disturb sign is permanently on. My lawyer, David, has been a rock. He handles all communication, and apparently the communication he's been receiving is unhinged. Eleanor and Julian cut their work trip short. They flew back the day after the serving. I know this because Eleanor, finding her keys still worked, I hadn't changed the locks I'd just left, let herself into the house. She was apparently confused to find it empty. No clothes in the closet, no toothbrush in the bathroom. I'd paid a moving company a rush fee to pack up my personal belongings, my clothes, my books, my computer, my father's old desk, and put them in storage. All of her stuff was exactly as she'd left it. Her first call was to David, demanding to know where I was. Eleanor, where is he? Why is all his stuff gone? Is this a joke? Mr. Hayes is securing new living arrangements, as is his right. All communication regarding the property will go through me. He can't just leave. This is my house. He has to come back and talk to me. Ma'am, it is legally his house, purchased prior to the marriage. We will be filing to have it sold to divide the marital appreciation as required by law. I suggest you find your own counsel. She hung up on him. Then she tried a new tactic. She drove to my brother's house. I hadn't even spoken to my brother Tom yet. She just showed up on his doorstep at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday, pounding on the door. Tom called me immediately after. Arthur, what in the fresh hell is going on? Eleanor was just here, looked like a drowned rat, crying her eyes out. Said you abandoned her and you're selling the house? I sighed, rubbing my temples. Tom, I'm sorry. It's a long story. She was cheating on me with her boss. I served her divorce papers while they were on a work trip together. There was a long silence on Tom's end. Well, damn. Okay. That explains why she kept screaming, you were ruining her career. I thought it was a weird thing to say. Yeah, I'm guessing she's worried Julian's wife is going to find out. She didn't mention the cheating part, Tom said dryly. Just that you were being financially abusive and emotionally unstable. I told her to go home and that we don't appreciate unannounced visits. She did not like that. The entitlement was just staggering. She cheated, got served, and her first move was to play the victim to my family. But the real dirty trick came yesterday. David called me. "Arthur," he said, and he sounded tired. "You're not going to like this. Ms. Vance has filed a motion for an emergency restraining order." My stomach dropped into my shoes. "What? On what grounds? I haven't seen or spoken to her in 2 weeks." "She's alleging a history of coercive control. She's claiming you've always managed the finances and that by leaving and selling the house, you've dispossessed her and left her homeless and penniless. She's also claiming your aggressive act of serving her at the hotel was designed to terrorize her and has caused her extreme emotional distress and panic attacks. This is what the prompt warned me about. The immediate woman as victim card. She's lying," I said, my voice shaking a little. "She's the one who had the affair. She's the one who told me not to come back." "I know, Arthur, and her claims are flimsy. But we have to respond and we have to do it now. The hearing is tomorrow morning. I need you to be there, and I need you to be calm." The next morning, I was in a sterile courthouse hallway, wearing the one suit I'd had the movers pull from storage. I felt sick. Eleanor was already there, sitting with a shark-faced woman in a pinstriped suit. Eleanor was dressed down, no makeup, hair in a messy bun. She looked small, calculated. When she saw me, she flinched, a tiny theatrical gesture for her lawyer's benefit. We got inside. Her lawyer went first, painting a picture of a terrified, dependent woman whose cruel, controlling husband had vanished, cut off her funds. A lie. I'd left money in the joint account, which she'd immediately drained, and was now trying to sell her home out from under her. "Miss Vance is in fear for her safety," the shark lawyer said. "Mr. Hayes's actions are erratic and punitive. He served her at her place of work, causing a professional disturbance and severe emotional trauma." Then it was David's turn. "Your Honor," David said, standing up. He was calm, methodical. "My client has not seen or spoken to Miss Vance since August 14th. He left the marital home after Miss Vance told him, and I quote, 'If you walk out that door, don't you dare come back.' He simply complied." He continued. "As for the place of work where she was served, Miss Vance was at the Grand Elysian Hotel with her boss, Mr. Paul Julian Croft. Here's a copy of the hotel reservation in both their names. Here's a printout of my client's email confirming he left the house while Miss Vance remained. And here," he pulled out another paper, "is a bank statement showing the joint account my client left for Miss Vance, which she emptied into her personal account less than 24 hours after being served. My client is not controlling Miss Vance. He is extricating himself from a case of clear and admitted to infidelity." You could have heard a pin drop. Eleanor's shark lawyer looked annoyed. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, looked at Eleanor over her glasses. "Ms. Vance," the judge said, "are you currently employed?" "Yes, Your Honor," Eleanor whispered. "And are you currently homeless?" I'm staying with a friend." "The house, which your counsel admits is his separate property, is being sold. You will be entitled to your share of the marital appreciation. This is a civil matter for divorce court, not a restraining order. I see no evidence of harassment. In fact, I see evidence of you harassing his family." Motion denied. Next case. Eleanor's face went from pale to beet red. She stared at me as I stood to leave. It wasn't sadness, it was the purest hatred I've ever seen. As I walked out, I heard her hiss at her lawyer, "Get me that house. I don't care what you have to do. Get me my house." Update 2, the house. It all came down to the house. After her restraining order stunt failed, Eleanor's lawyer switched tactics. The house was my premarital property, so she couldn't get the house. But she could make the sale a living nightmare. My realtor, a fantastic woman named Sarah, had the place staged and listed in record time. We got an offer almost immediately. A young family, way over asking, no contingencies. It was a clean, easy sale. Then Eleanor's lawyer filed an emergency injunction to block the sale. The claim? Miss Vance has significant personal property within the home that has not been properly cataloged or returned, and she has not been given adequate access to retrieve it. David called me. "What property? I thought you let her get her stuff." "I did," I said. "She had a full weekend. Her mother and sister were there. They filled a U-Haul. She's claiming you've hidden or stolen several key items. Specifically an antique armoire, her grandmother's china, and something called the celestial weave." I almost dropped the phone. The celestial weave was the name she'd given to a monstrous art piece she'd commissioned 2 years ago. It was a 10-foot-wide, 8-foot-tall monstrosity of tangled copper pipes, colored glass, and driftwood that was bolted directly into the living room wall. It was, to put it kindly, hideous. I'd hated it since day one. "David," I said slowly. "The armoire and china were the first things her mother packed. I have photos from the realtor, pre-staging, showing the empty dining room, and the celestial weave. It's a fixture. It's attached to the studs. It's part of the wall." "Ah," David said. "I see. She's not trying to get her stuff back. She's trying to tank the sale." The new buyers were understandably spooked. They had a rate lock set to expire. We had to go back to court. This time, Eleanor was there, again in her mouse costume. Her lawyer argued that the celestial weave was a priceless custom piece of art, an heirloom in the making, and that I was attempting to sell it with the house out of spite. David was ready. "Your Honor, we are happy to return the celestial weave to Miss Vance," David said pleasantly. Eleanor and her lawyer both smirked. They'd won. "However," David continued, "as my client stated, it is a legal fixture, bolted into the structure of the home. My client has obtained a quote from a licensed contractor to have it professionally removed, patched, and the wall re-drywalled and painted to match. The cost is $4,800. We will gladly have this done and deliver the art and the bill to Miss Vance, with the amount to be deducted from her share of the proceeds." Eleanor's smirk vanished. "No, he can't. It has to be removed carefully." "This is the careful quote," David said, handing the paper to the judge. "We also have a quote from a junk removal service for $600, her choice." The judge looked at the quote, then at the photo of the thing. "Counselor," the judge said to Eleanor's lawyer, "this is junk. You are wasting the court's time. Your client can either pay $4,800 to have her weave removed, or she can forfeit it. The sale will proceed." But the dirty tricks weren't done. While this was happening, I got a call from a very angry-sounding man. "Is this Arthur Hayes?" he barked. "Speaking," I said. "This is Gerald Vance, Eleanor's father. I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing, boy, but you're done. I'm calling my contacts. You think you can embarrass my daughter and throw her out on the street? I'll see to it you never work in this town again. You're finished." He hung up. He wasn't kidding. He's a minor local big shot, owns a string of car dealerships. A week later, my boss called me in. "Arthur," he said, looking uncomfortable, "I got a call from Gerald Vance. He's not happy with you. Said you're unstable, going through a nasty divorce, harassing his daughter. He strongly implied that if we kept you on, his company and his associates would be taking their business elsewhere." My heart pounded. This was it. The move that would actually ruin me. "Mark," I said, "he's lying. His daughter cheated on me. I'm divorcing her. Here's my lawyer's card. Please just call him. He'll give you the facts." "I don't care about the facts, Arthur," Mark said, and my stomach clenched. "I care about our quarterly numbers." But what? "But I also really, really hate bullies, and Gerald Vance has been leaning on our vendors for years. I told him our internal HR matters are none of his concern. But I'm telling you this, off the record, watch your back. This guy plays dirty, and keep this drama out of the office." I dodged a bullet. But it was close. The stress was unreal. I wasn't sleeping. I'd lost 15 pounds. This wasn't a clean victory. It was a war of attrition. Final update. It's over. The divorce was finalized last week. We didn't go to trial. After the celestial weave debacle and after her father's failed attempt to get me fired, their side finally agreed to mediation. I think her lawyer realized that every time Eleanor opened her mouth in court, she lost. The mediation was a single 8-hour day of my life I will never get back. I walked in with David. Eleanor was already there with her lawyer. And, in the most audacious move I have ever witnessed, Julian was there. He wasn't in the room, but he was in the waiting area, for moral support. He was rubbing her back and getting her coffee. The sheer, unmitigated gall. The main fight, as predicted, was money. The house sale had gone through, despite Eleanor's attempts. The final appreciation value was $180,000. Her legal share was $90,000. Ms. Vance is also requesting rehabilitative alimony for a period of 5 years, her lawyer began. She has suffered extreme professional and emotional damage as a result of this trauma. Her career prospects have been impacted. David just blinked. Impacted? She's still employed by the man in the lobby. In fact, we have her most recent pay stub which you provided, showing she received a 10% raise after the work trip. What trauma is she being compensated for? The trauma of the divorce. A divorce she initiated via infidelity. No, Your Honor, we're not paying alimony. Then came the assets. We went back and forth on furniture. She got the couch, the dining table, the patio set. I kept my father's desk, the good mattress, and the TV. Then her lawyer brought up the celestial weave again. My client has forfeited the art piece, but she expects to be compensated for its value, which she has appraised at $30,000. She slid a piece of paper across the table. An appraisal, written on letterhead from a gallery I'd never heard of, signed by a curator who I'm 99% sure was one of her art school friends. David didn't even look at it. He slid a paper back. This, David said, is the final closing statement for the house. As you can see, the buyers, after living with the piece for 1 week, elected to have it professionally removed. They found it blocked a significant water damage patch that was not disclosed, likely because the piece was installed to hide it. We had to credit them $10,000 for mold remediation and repair. We are deducting half of that, $5,000, from her $90,000 share. Eleanor's lawyer's face went gray. Eleanor just stared. You can't. Eleanor sputtered. That's criminal. You damaged the house. Ma'am, the mold was from before your weave, David said. You covered it up. That's fraud. The final tally was brutal. Her $90,000 share, minus $5,000 for the mold she hid, minus $2,400 for her half of the cost to remove the weave. The buyers got a different quote. Minus $7,000 for the marital credit card debt she'd run up buying her trip wardrobe, which David had meticulously proven was all her personal post-separation spending. Her grand total, her windfall from our 3-year marriage, $75,600. She looked at the number, then at me. This isn't fair, she whispered. I put my stamp on that house, I decorated it, I made it beautiful. That's worth something. It's worth $75,600, David said, closing his binder. Eleanor stood up so fast her chair screeched. You will regret this, Arthur. You'll be alone forever. You're a cold, empty shell of a man. She ran out of the room past Julian, who looked deeply uncomfortable, and down the hall. Julian, he actually looked at me. He opened his mouth as if to say something. Maybe sorry, maybe no hard feelings. Don't, I said, my first and only word to him. He just nodded and went to chase after her. So that's it. It's done. I'm still in the beige apartment. The $75,600 has been transferred to her. The house is sold. Okay, it's not a victory. I lost 3 years of my life. I lost my home. I lost a woman I, at one point, truly loved. I'm in debt to my lawyer. My boss still looks at me funny sometimes, though Gerald Vance's threats seem to have died down. But I'm not with her. I'm not being lied to. I'm not paying for her hotel rooms with her boss. Last I heard, Julian's wife did find out, not from me, from someone else at their company. He got transferred to a different branch. Eleanor, I've heard, is not doing well. She's living with her parents. Apparently, Julian wasn't as keen on her once she was no longer a fun secret and was instead a very real, very expensive, and very dramatic liability. I got one last text from her from a new number the day the money hit her account. I hope that $75,000 was worth it. You destroyed my life over money. I just stared at it. She still didn't get it. She never will. I didn't reply. I just forwarded it to David, blocked the number, and went back to unpacking the last of my boxes from storage. It's not a happy ending, but it's an ending, and it's mine.